Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Givaradari Gopi Janavallabha Givaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jam Vishnupad Paramsa Prachikacharya Stotara Shata Shri Sriman Shla Abhay Charan Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shla Upad Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namachara Shaharidas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Se Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai जय श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. Oh glorious assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Oh glorious assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Oh glorious assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Oh glorious to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Oh glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pataputi Swami Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pataputi Shmati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadi Shatarine. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Behivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I'm very much honored to be with all of you. Everyone understands English? Okay. Okay. So, we'll discuss raising children in Krishna consciousness. I think this topic is extremely important because we can see many times that many children of devotees don't become devotees themselves. And sometimes even happens that children who are not brought up in Krishna consciousness can easily accept Krishna consciousness than the kids of the devotees. So it's important to really understand these dynamics. So Lord Rishabhadev, in 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when he was teaching his sons, said, Guru nasasyat svajano nasasyat pitana sasyat janini nasasyat devam natasyan napatishcha sasyan namochayatya samupeta mrityum. That one should not become a guru, a teacher. Guru nasasyat svajano nasasyat. One should not become a relative. So we have option to become a relative or not. Guru nasasyat svajano nasasyat pitana sasyat. One should not become a father. And janani nasasyat. One should not become a mother. And one should not become a worshipful deity, even. Devam natasyan patischa sasyan. And one should not become a husband if one is not able to deliver those who are dependent on him from repeated births and deaths. Yes, so everyone who has some dependent in his life has extreme responsibility to deliver them. Otherwise, the Lord himself says that one should not become anything of this. So we should not also put the deities that are not able to deliver us on the altar. So, because we can see in Hindu society there are many deities on the altar also that are not able to deliver their dependents from repeated births and deaths. So, we as parents, or even friends or relatives, have this extreme responsibility to deliver those who are dependent on us. So, most important in Kali Yuga, as we know, is to chant the holy name. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Namaiva Kevalam. Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranata. There is no other way, no other way, no other way than chanting of the holy names, chanting of the holy names, and chanting of the holy names. Yes. And this verse is extremely interesting because it repeats 3 times, 2 times, 3 times. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama. And it stresses with Eva Kevalam. Eva means certainly, and it's a strong word that supports something very strongly. And Kevalam means only. Certainly and only. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama. The holy name of the Lord, holy name of the Lord, the holy name of the Lord. Yes. And Kalo, this in the age of Kali, which is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. Kalo nasti eva. Asti means there is, and nasti, there is not. And again, this word eva, which supports this very strongly. Nasti eva, nasti eva, nasti. There is not, certainly there is not, certainly there is not, certainly there is not. Gatir anyata, other way. And it's interesting because if something comes into the Vedas, it's extremely important because Vyasadeva didn't have some quota to fulfill how much he should write. So whatever he writes is important. If it is mentioned twice, it's really extremely important. It's so important that you mention twice. For example, there are 2 verses in Bhagavat Gita, not in full, repeated twice. And if something is mentioned 3 times, you cannot go around it. It's just absolute injunction. And here in one verse we have 2 times, 3 times. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama. And Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Gatiranata. So we should take it very seriously, this injunction. And if it is so important for us, of course it's as important for our children and our family. So, Hare Krishna. It's confirmed. So, what do you think when we should start to teach our children chanting of the holy name. When they can speak. Okay, thank you. Any other idea? In the womb? Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Like we should be an example, but we cannot force them.
Okay. This is not exactly the answer when.
So when they are attracted to your example.
Okay. Yes, please.
Thank you. Before planning to get children, to meditate on it, to have the desire.
To meditate and have desire, we should start to teach our children how to chant. Very good. Anything else? One other idea? Yes, please. Right now. Yes, exactly. Right now. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is the time to inquire about the absolute truth, to connect to the absolute truth. In fact, we should be devotees, and this will influence our consciousness now and of course in the future also. So then we have children in the right frame of our mind, and the good soul or devotional soul is attracted to our family by this. And of course, as you all mentioned, different devotees, it's important to teach them also in the womb and so on, and when we meditate to have family and so on. And we should understand one thing very thoroughly, that mother is the first guru of a child. Whatever mother does when she's pregnant with a child, or when the child is born, goes directly to the heart of the child. So mother should be very careful to really devote her time and life to chanting of the holy name. Then the child will receive the holy name even in the womb. And we know from the example, you have Prahlad Maharaj here on the altar, how important these impressions one receives in the womb. Prahlad was taught by Narada Muni when he was in the womb of his mother, and he remained devotee for the rest of his life. So, mother should chant the holy name during the pregnancy, and also when the child is born. It's really unfortunate. I can see many times that young mothers, they think that that she's overburdened with the child and she cannot chant. But in fact, the child, a newborn child, sleeps and eats usually, if he's not sick or something. But it's really beneficial for mother to chant during breastfeeding. Of course, for the child is the best to be breastfed, and the best system to give the child the holy name is by breastfeeding, because then this holy name goes to the child with his or her mother's milk, and of course, during breastfeeding, the child feels secure, loved, nourished, and then this goes completely in his heart, in the most deep parts of his consciousness. We have a folk song in Slovenian, and it says, I'm Slovenian, so my mother said when she cuddled me in her lap. So from cradle to grave, my fidelity will not waver a bit. So we can see how deep this goes, whatever our mother says or does when we are a little child. Much deeper than our philosophy, that we can explain philosophy. This is just part of our existence. So if mother chants her holy names very diligently and with all her heart, then this is the utmost service for her child ever possible. Yes. You have any question? Yes, of course. Please feel free to ask any questions. Don't be shy.
Just sort of privately, many mothers have come to me to say that they've either completely stopped chanting or don't chant anymore. There's a few that I work with the community to try, but really it's like, for me it was a surprise, but how big of a problem it is. And I'm not just talking here, but visiting mamas or from other temples also. In fact, I was in one temple a couple of years ago, and I had the bead bag in my hand, and a mother approached me and said, "Aha, you chant." And I was like, I didn't know if it was a trick question, but she was really like, "Aha, I don't manage at all. I tried. The children, which I often as too time-consuming or in need or whatever, and they stop." So, just would be good to also have some tips on how to encourage them without them feeling overwhelmed with it, sort of without feeling pushed.
Yes. My wife, she was breastfeeding and chanting at the same time. And even the child wakes up during the night and so on. And she just had the child at her breast and chanting also. Or if they were sleeping during this breastfeeding. But the point is, when the mother is not sleeping during breastfeeding, she can chant, even without japamala. It's recommended to have a japamala, but even if she doesn't count her rounds, she should chant. Understand my point? So yes, the mother should chant, because this goes extremely deep to the child, directly to his heart or her heart. Yes. So chanting is really important, and because then the child will connect the sound of the holy name with nourishment, with love, with security, with pleasing environment, and this will stay with the child forever, till the last breath, most positively, without any doubt. So it's really important. And then when the child is a little bit independent, that means he can crawl around or something. Then it should be introduced chanting, of course not by some injunction. You said now you should sit and chant. No way, because we many times hear that the child can till the age of 5 he can do anything. Have you heard something this? And then no karma. Yes, and the child should be allowed to do anything. Have you heard like this? Yes, and after the age of 5, we should discipline the child. This will not work. So the child, of course, this system that you don't force the child to do anything is still valid, but we should know what does it mean. That means that the child can play, but when he or she wanted to do some nonsense, the child should be stopped. No, you shouldn't do this. They understand, they're quite intelligent beings, they're not stupid. So they understand, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Yes, this is okay, or something like this. They understand it, but we don't force them to sit and learn something or chant or anything like this. But this doesn't mean that we don't teach them, because we teach them how to eat, we teach them how to walk, we teach them everything. And they're growing up with all the time learning something. They imbibe everything, and that means, of course, learning. And so we should also teach them how to chant. And that means that when a child is crawling around, we don't wake them before 4 o'clock in the morning, so now it's time for chanting. But no, when the child wakes up and it's the japa time for the family, it's really important that the family chants together. First, the impression will be there that everyone in the family does this. It's chanting. And when the child crawls around, the parent or mother should take a child in her lap, or his lap is the father, and chants and says to the child, now we chant japa. And start to chanting in his ears. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the child feels very pleasant sensation. Now he has something mysterious and pleasing, because the child hears the holy name many times from mother, and now he's chanting in the lap of his or her parent, or father or mother. And when the child has enough, he can go and play on. But if the child wants so much attention from the parents, of course, if it is something important or urgent, we should immediately jump and do whatever needed. But if it is not important, the child just wants to play with us and have attention from us, the child should know, now is time for chanting. I'm now chanting. You can play, no problem. And so we chant, and the child plays, and he or she understands very well that now is time for chanting, and my mother or my father is now devoted to chanting and nothing else. Yes.
Beim Chanten.
Beim Chanten. Wenn sie chantet, oder? Wenn sie chantet oder wenn du
Nee,
chantest?
zusammen haben wir gechantet vor Krishna.
Okay. Und die Frage ist, was bedeutet das? Oder?
Ich habe dann gesagt, dann soll sie aufhören.
Mataji is telling that her granddaughter, when they were sitting together to chant japa, she would always start crying. And then at one point she would say that, okay, then you do something else. So maybe you can comment on this phenomena.
Yes, I don't know the environment of this child, but many times I think the children are quite spoiled. Sorry? That they're over cared for, the children. And so then they, how to say, they want to force their parents to do something what they want at that particular moment. But children should know that the parents are in charge. That he's not in charge. He's not more powerful than his or her parents. Because if the child feels that he can have his or her parent, that he's more powerful, parents do everything that he wants or she wants, then he will not feel secure. Because he's more powerful than his protector or her protector. So it's important to be in charge. That the child should know. Yes, if it's not something important, the mother or father will not react. Yes, yes, please.
Krishna, sorry, I would just disagree with this point that children are maybe spoiled or over cared for. I would say the problem is the other way right now.
Sorry?
That children are a little bit not cared for. And this call for attention is usually when the balance is not there. So I'm not disagreeing with the fact that they have to know their rules, but I think a balance has to be there. That at this point, okay, maybe mommy or daddy are chanting, but afterwards, we can fulfill whatever is needed. I just saw it like in front that sometimes you have children left, in the play area, and the parents are off doing service many, many hours. So it falls under neglect rather than.
Yes,
way,
this
yeah.
is also extremely important point. No, never we should neglect our children. And the modern times, it's true, there are many times neglected children. And then, of course, they want attention more than it's normal. And this is the consequence because mothers are taught to pursue some other goals in her life, in their lives, to pursue some business career, or whatever. If she's helping in the temple, that she should do many temple services, and then many times children are really neglected, not over cared for, and then when they have time, they spoil the child to compensate their neglect, in fact. And this is really not healthy combination. And so I really recommend, really from my heart, that mother should stay at home. Home without a mother is like a crematorium. Really, it's just cold house. And if children don't have mothers at home, they're just on their own, and they do many nonsense, and they don't feel love, in fact. And they don't feel careful. And then, of course, they want attention, much more than is healthy. Yes, thank you for this comment. It's really important. Yes, many times mothers are absent. They shouldn't be. They should, and the children should always have their mothers. Yes. So this is how we teach our children chanting. And that we take them in our lap and chant together. And when the children have enough, they can go and play. But they should know that now is the time for chanting for whole family, and those who are older, they chant. They chant. And besides chanting, it's also important to base our life on spiritual life and spirituality. It's not just self-evident that we are devotees. We should frame our life around spiritual life. So I think it is really important to have programs together, spiritual programs together. It is said, the family that prays together stays together, and the family that sings together clings together, and the family that dances together advances together. So we should do our spiritual programs together, because I have seen many times that, for example, father is worshipping a Shalagram Shila, and no one is engaged also in deity worship. He does his puja alone, and the children are just observers, or even if it's early in the morning, they don't even observe this. But the family should have programs together. It's really beneficial. Mangalarati, of course, is extremely important program. The most important program, as Prabhupada also says. It's most important program. If one doesn't get up for Mangalarati, Prabhupada said she should fast this day. So it's really important program. Because the morning is in the mode of goodness, and this day starts with glorifying the Lord. So if we can have Mangalarati together, is really important. Of course, you are living in around the temple, so even if children go to Mangalarati in the temple, is very good also. Even if they sleep during Mangalarati in their mother's or father's lap, it's better that they don't go to Mangalarati. But if we don't go to Mangalarati in the temple, we should have Mangalarati at home. It can be, of course, later. It doesn't need to be at 4:30. But we should start the day by glorifying the Lord together. Besides chanting, these are singing together for the pleasure of the Lord. Yes.
I was just wondering, starting which age is it actually healthy for a child to wake up at 4 a.m.?
Immediately. When he's born. Because, of course, if he's not sick or something. But this should become a habit. We go to Mangalarati, this is our habit. We do this like like this every day, without exception. So, of course, we don't wake up children if they fall asleep during Mangala Arati. Usually, if their children are small, they are in the lap of their parents. So this is okay, but this habit then is ingrained in their consciousness as we go to Mangala Arati every day. And it's also beneficial to have Gaura Arati together in the evening when the day ends, that we also have together the program together. Yes. And also other things that we read together with children. Because children are very intelligent, they can hear even Srimad Bhagavatam without any problem, really. And they can play together during this hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. For example, my wife was reading Srimad Bhagavatam with our daughter. And she really liked the idea that the sages of Naimisharanya gathered together and were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sutta Goswami. And she collected all the toys in the house, and for her these toys represented the sages from Naimisharanya. And they came together on one spot. And all of these animals and different toys, they were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So hearing Srimad Bhagavatam then becomes a play and a part of everyday's life. So it's not something forced to the child, but it becomes a pleasurable activity, in fact. And Srimad Bhagavatam is full of different interesting stories, of course. And so we can present them in the way that is most close to the child, that the child can understand them, these stories. Yes. And the children can also understand Prabhupada's purpose. We shouldn't just jump over the purpose. They're intelligent people. Many times we think that it's too heavy for them to understand something. But if we discuss them in their early childhood, everything they will understand. And it's extremely important to teach them tattva, to teach them philosophy. If we don't teach them tattva, the time will come, the children will say, this is the religion of my parents. It's just another type of religion. So they should know the philosophy very thoroughly. They should know philosophy. Because this is not a religion. This is Sanatan Dharma of every living entity. To be connected with the Lord and to serve Him. Yes. Jivara Svarupaha Krishna Nityadas. We are always the servants of the Lord. So the children should understand this. And they should know what is pure devotional service and what is mixed devotional service and what is not devotional service. And what is religion and what is Dharma, what is bhakti. They should know the difference. Yes. If they don't, then they will tend to think this is just the religion of my parents. Yes. Especially if they go to school and they are taught by atheists. And as far as I know, if maybe I'm wrong, You cannot homeschool here in Germany your children. It's forbidden. Yes, this is really pity. In Slovenia, this is possible, and it's really beneficial if we can homeschool our children. So, as I said, we discussed now Kaumara part of the children's life. There are 3 or 4, we can say, divisions of one's growing up. First is Kaumara, and Shastras explained it's from 0 to 5. And then is Boganda, and it's from 5 to 10. And then is Kaishora, from 10 to 15. And then is Yavana, young age. And it's explained that somewhere that Yavana lasts till 45. till the age of 45, the man is young, and after 45 till 60, it's the middle age, and after this is old age. So we will discuss Kaumara age and Boganda and Kaishora, and we'll say something about Nava Yovana, just turning to be a young man or woman. So, yes. So, if I resume, first we should be devotees ourselves, really strict devotees, because if we are not strict devotees, children are intelligent. They know what you really believe in. If you're catching your rounds all day long, they won't take to chanting, because we are all Anandamayobhyasat. We are the living entities of pleasure. Every living entity is a pleasure-seeking being and wants to be happy. This is natural. We all want to be happy. We want to be blissful, not just happy. And if the child sees that chanting of the holy name is a burden for his parent, he or she definitely doesn't want to be burdened. And so he will not take, or she will not take, to the chanting of the holy name. In fact, it will be repelled from chanting the holy name. So the child should see, yes, my father, my mother believes in chanting, and that it's completely devoted to chanting. That means never scrolls on the phone during chanting, or do anything else during chanting. I don't know, cooking or ironing or reading newspaper or watching TV. Yes. But the most dangerous distractor from chanting is our phone. So when we chant, we should take time and really chant. And we should switch off the phone and put it in another room, not to be tempted by it. Yes. I heard that Kadamba Karana Maharaj mentioned that the number one enemy in ISKCON is internet. And I believe it's not just the case in ISKCON, but everywhere in the world. So this is our enemy in chanting. The phone is our enemy. Yes. And of course, the mind, which can also be our enemy, as we know from Bhagavad Gita and from Srimad Bhagavatam also, will think of many different excuses how the phone can help our chanting. For example, to see the pictures of Radha and Krishna on the phone, or that we read some devotional texts here and there during our chanting. But of course, other distractions also come on the phone, and we just check something. So we should just switch off the phone and put it away. Put it away. No sound should come from the phone. No sound at all. Yes. So the children should see that we are really focused on our goal to please Guru and Krishna, and to chant with complete attention. And if they see that we are like this, they will understand, yes, chanting is important. Chanting is important. My father, my mother believes in chanting. Yes. So, yes, if you don't chant really seriously, they will not take to it. Yes. Or they will emulate our chanting, so they will not chant really carefully. They're just walking around with japamala, and no effect will be there. Yes. So we should be really strict to ourselves, more than to any other person. We should be strict to ourselves first. And then everyone around will understand, yes, you believe in the holy name. You believe in the process of devotional service. Okay. Is there any questions or discussion? Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Bhagavat Prabhu, for this nice discourse. So far, I would like to ask, nowadays it's quite common, especially in non-devotee families, that children might not get the most attention, also from the part of the mother. And later on it could be a little bit of a hindrance in devotional life, maybe in general those emotions connected with family. So maybe you could talk about that, how to deal with that, or how to purify that.
Yes, we discussed a little bit of this already, that children are neglected many times, and when they are together they want to compensate, and they give too much material things to children and do everything they want, and this is not healthy for a child's development, emotional or spiritual. So, as I said, I really recommend that mother is at home, because father usually has to work, and it's enough one wage for a month. Last year here in Simhachalam, I had a seminar of Jayadvaita Maharaj, and he said one really important thing, that Krishna conscious family should have the expenses as close to zero as possible. So, to live really simply. If we live simply, that we are much more peaceful in our life. And we don't have different credits that we should pay off. And everyone is satisfied. children who have many toys, but they don't have their mothers at home. They're frustrated. They just break these toys in frustration. But even if there is just one toy, or they can play with branches of the trees, they're really satisfied if they feel they're loved, they're cared for, and the mother is there. For example, Nitai was asked to sing in the choir in the secondary school. But he said that I cannot. I have lunch at home, and the schoolmaster said, "But there's no one at home." And he said, "No, my mother is at home." And then he was without arguments anymore. So yes, mother should be at home and take emotional and bodily and spiritual care of the whole family. And it is said that in Shastra, if there is no loving mother or loving wife at home, one should go just in the forest. Because there is no home. In fact, without mother or loving wife, there is no home. It's just a crematorium, in fact. Yes. So mothers should stay at home. There is no money that can pay off mother's absence from home. No money. Millions of dollars or euros are just waste of human life if there is no mother at home. Yes. Hare Krishna. Yes, please. Okay.
So, thank you for this answer. My question was more connected to when one is already practicing devotional service and is already grown up and might have had some bad experience, so to say, or less attention in childhood, and then those emotions come up in the devotional practice, how to then deal with it, what to then do.
How to practice when we are already grown up? Or?
Yeah, when this happened in the past, that we might have been neglected in the past, less attention, and those emotions we carry in devotional service, and how to deal then with that.
Many of us, we have this experience to be neglected in our childhood. For example, when I was 3 months old, my mother put me in the kindergarten. This was usual. She wasn't some exception. This was a standard in those years for children to be put in the kindergarten after 3 months. Mothers had 3 months of maternity leave only. And so of course, and when I remember when I was 5 years old or something, I hated kindergarten. And the kindergarten was just 30 meters away from my home. Extremely close. And once I escaped from the kindergarten and I ran, we lived in a block, and I ran to our flat, and I was ringing on the door. Mother, open the door, and I was banging on the door, and no one was there to open me. And then this teacher called me and dragged me back to the kindergarten. It's really traumatic experience. But of course, we should understand if we have such experiences in our life. We should understand logically what is beneficial and what is not. I admired Srila Prabhupada's books because they were so logical, so scientific. I'm I was living in a scientific family, and I accepted Prabhupada's philosophy because Prabhupada always emphasized that this is not faith, this is spiritual science. This is spiritual science. And everything he explained was really scientifically explained. This is a process, and if you follow the process, you attain this and this. So then we should study Prabhupada's books really thoroughly and understand our philosophy, and by this intellectual understanding we can approach also then deeper emotional parts of spirituality. If we are deprived of love and attention in our childhood. But I was brought up in a Christian family, so these Christian prayers went deep in my heart. And I still sometimes remember them and connect them with Krishna consciousness. And they're really part of my existence, in fact. Yes. So, if we don't have this experience, deep spiritual experience in our earliest childhood, then we should just intellectually approach. Yes, you wanted to ask something?
Hare Krishna, thank you. I would like to ask you, maybe you can speak a little bit to this topic, to my question, how to deal with children in the temple area, or even maybe when they don't behave nicely or not proper, or when they are allowed, or what are the nice rules, or what is the good behavior for parents or for children, and also maybe for guests who are there, and give them a good example that they don't disturb, or maybe the brahmacharis who are living in a temple. Maybe you can please say something to it.
Yes. It's not behaving properly stems many times from this idea that children can do anything till the age of 5. But as I said earlier, the children should understand what is right and what is not. And this is primarily the duty of the father, to establish order for the children. And the children should know, we shouldn't jump over the people or or do nonsense and running here and there during, I don't know, classes or something. They should know this, and especially father should teach them not to do this. And if they're in their mother's lap, and if they do some noises during classes, for example, mother should just take them out, not to disturb all other devotees. She can listen outside or whatever. But yes, the children should be taught not to disturb everyone. Because many times parents think, yes, my child is so cute, but other people don't think like this, especially if they're not parents themselves. They will be just disturbed. So we shouldn't disturb devotees with naughty behavior of our children. Yes. Okay.
We can listen. One short anecdote about the question Manindabana Prabhu was asking. Because during Prabhupada's times already this devotees were facing the situation that children were disturbing the programs. So I think Rupanuga Prabhu wrote to Srila Prabhupada some proposal, so children until I think I forget exactly, but something like 1 year or half a year they cannot enter the temple room, and then after 1 year they can come only for kirtans, and then after certain age they can come for all the programs, and so they this proposal, and Prabhupada answered, "This is a very bad idea."
Yes, of course, I completely agree.
He said that it's very beneficial for the children to be involved in all the programs,
yes,
including classes. But of course, it's the duty of the parents to comfort the child always.
Yes.
So to was the word Prabhupada, to always make sure they're comfortable. If they're not comfortable, then they should make sure their situation is comfortable somewhere else.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yes. This is really important. As I explained, the children can, from the earliest childhood, they can come to Mangalarati and to classes. For example, my boys were very good during classes, even when they were babies. But my daughter not. She wanted attention, and she immediately noticed that when my wife put attention to class, she wanted something to drag attention to her. So if it was too disturbing, she just took her out. And then when they were, 7 years old, they were listening to classes with me, boys. Even if the classes were in English, I translated them, the classes, and so they learned English by this translation of classes. And they spoke, they can converse in English at the age of 8, I think. You conversed in English when we were in India. Yes. So, yes, they can be on all programs. The idea is that children should attend to all programs together with their parents. But they should know that they should behave properly. That not allowed just to jump and make noise all over the place. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I think it also depends on who the speaker is. For example, Kadamba Kananamraj was very nice with Charu, like my boy when he was 4. He said he could sit nearby, and if he disturbs, he'll throw some of his flowers at him. Then occasionally he threw, some of the flowers, and then Charu knew, okay, back with attention. But it was I found that with my children personally, sometimes they've been quite heavily chastised. So I think the first thing is, if the child is disturbing, for me personally, it's much better if that person, brahmachari or otherwise, comes to the adult and say, okay, the child is causing a disturbance, can you deal with it? Because, you saw your child and someone goes, stop it now, and they literally, are a bit traumatized from that experience. So I think it's about a balance up of how.
Yes, this is the duty of the parents, not of brahmacharis or to discipline the child.
Yeah, and also just to have that tolerance and to go to the parent rather than immediately take that action.
One thing is really important, I think, and this is that brahmacharis are friends to the boys, not to girls, of course. But the boys. We were lucky in Ljubljana. Our family was around this temple in Ljubljana. There were many brahmacharis at the time at the temple, and they were really friendly. They were friends. They were like one band together. And one thing is really good for children to have some summer vocational program. All families, or even brahmacharis together. For example, we had Padayatra, and we still have every year. Especially during the time we had an ox who dragged the chariot around. This was the best, and it was huge ox, really huge ox. Nitai wanted to lead this ox, and he was allowed to lead it, but we can see in the pictures the head of this ox was as big as Nitai. So yes, and all children enjoyed this Padayatra program, and this is some spiritual adventure, and it's really good if it's possible to have such spiritual adventure. And there is Padayatra in Czech Republic with oxen, I believe. So if anyone has this opportunity to go with their families to such program, is really beneficial. Yes. And because it's fun. And yes, this is important. I didn't mention this, but it's really important. Not to have fun outside of Krishna consciousness with children. Then they will connect. Fun is outside. Here is just boring, and fun is outside. Yes. So no pleasure parks or I don't know what. Fun should be here at the temple with devotees. Yes. So it's really beneficial if the brahmacharis are friends to boys. Yes. And if there are matajis, other matajis, they should be friends to girls. Yes.
That's really important, because I found my children really get nourished when they have this positive experience. I mean, they learn their habits too, like my boys, when they come for Mangalati, some very encouraging Sankirtan devotees show them to run around Tulasi. So now they think they should run around Tulasi, like, so, you know, it's something that... My question was that you spoke a lot about the mother's role. Could you speak a little bit more about the father's role?
Yes, because we spoke about mother's role because we discussed Kaumara period of life. Then in Boganda, then comes the father's role more obviously. Of course, as I mentioned, the parents shouldn't allow children to make noise and disturbance among devotees, and this is, of course, especially father's duty. But we'll stress this more tomorrow, the father's role. Okay, we went a little bit over time. So thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Please accept my humble obeisance.